What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit. I have got the settings on incorrectly, and I am back with some more Age of Mythology retold action. In the top of the map, playing as Hades. His name is Der Super Saiyajin. His opponent today, in the red color, playing as Gaia. His name is Tunison. I got a question here. Can you tell me how to make snow weather in the AOM the Titans maps like Midgard and Ghost Lake? I got no idea, my dude. No idea. I've got. You don't have to ask in any sort of modding things. All right. So we got ourselves a cheeky little game here of Gaia versus Hades. For some backstory for anyone who's just joining on right now, I just played this matchup. And it felt kind of unfun. So I wanted to watch someone else playing it and see what they do. And see what happens. So we're going to be off to the races here as everyone's going to be grabbing their goats and all the other good stuff. Now this map is very different to the map that I was just playing on. I was playing on an Alfheim map. Super closed off. Super difficult to get anything done. So, we'll see how things go here for Mr. Der Super Saiyajin, as there is a significant rating difference between him and Tunison. Tunison is one of the best players currently playing Age Mythology, and Der Super Saiyajin is currently ranked just outside rank 100. So, very, 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 very strong player here with Tunison. Now, one thing that Der Super Saiyajin is really good at is he's very, very good at fundamental Age Mythology. He's a very nice defender. And we'll see how he's going to go here. As, I mean, he's got a perfect map, or kind of a perfect map. He could have dropped the mining camp in the middle here and saved that a little bit, and he would have been fine. But there's not really much need for that, as he's grabbing himself that Vaults of Erebus. And the game to continue along here. On the other side, we do see Tunison grabbing himself hand axe. Pickaxe also queued up as well. Oceanus going to be the god of choice for Tunison, which does make the most sense here. There's two ways to play this for the Hades. One way I think is less correct than the other, or like, it's not necessarily not correct. You can still win going this way. But if you go for Athena, like we are seeing here for Der Super Saiyajin, it does leave open a bit of a problem with dealing with automatons. Automatons can be somewhat of a difficult thing to deal with. Now, there are some angles to beat them. For example, getting a nice quick heroic mythic age in, and sacking a whole bunch of stuff can work. You get out Perseus straight away, and then all of a sudden, all the automatons are going to die in a couple of slaps. I don't know what's happening in my Twitch chat at the moment, so I'm just going to focus on the game, hey? So, yeah, my point here is if you go Ares, you leave yourself open the option to deal with automatons very, very simply, because Cyclops are incredibly good versus the automatons, as they do have, when upgraded, they do have splash damage, which basically means that their 3x versus the automatons is going to apply to a ton of them in an actual fight. Then on top of that, you also get divine damage hoplites, which are also going to be even better versus those automaton. And finally, you can get access to Hypaspis to deal with any sort of other units that are coming out. And then finally Peltas to deal with any sort of Karabala, so it's going to shut everything down. Now on the other side, if you go Athena, sorry, if you can't. The other thing is, if you go automatons, it does leave open, and that's all leaving open some one talent center ideas as well, right? But if you go Athena, Sorry, if you go Oceanus and your opponent goes for Ares, then all of a sudden you get access to all of the cheaper heroes that come with the upgrade. I don't think we got a barracks up just yet. We've got a town center coming up for both players. You go straight in for that, and you're good to go. So you can just get full mass Catapulti, Murmillo, get some Terma or some Caraballister out there, and it's tough, but it's winnable versus the Cyclops sort of strat, so which does force the Hades player to then go into a slightly different style, which would be more defensive, such as grabbing a back town center and then playing for like a super death ball type thing on 2TC, and that can work very, very nicely as well. Nonetheless, town center's up for both players, and they're both going for basically the same town center. Huge amount of hunt on both of these. This town center here for Tunison is absolutely amazing. This is the type of town center that if I see as a Gaia player, I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to be able to actually execute a strategy that it is reliant on the map to be able to do this, right? And that strategy is effectively we're going for a fast heroic, and you should be aiming, I think Tunison's making a bit of a mistake here. You should be aiming for fast tier 3 eco ups, which means grabbing these as soon as possible in the classical age, because your opponent here is going for the town center, right? So they're not going to be able to put too much pressure onto you right away. And a later heroic age doesn't matter that much because you're so far away. So going for fast bowsaw, fast shaft mine, and then when you hit the heroic age, straight into quarry carpenters, and now we get ourselves all the eco advantage to start pumping up units to just break through all the stuff the Hades player is going to be doing. You hit an insane timing on them, and if they're just going to sit there and take it, you should be able to find some wins. The problem is not every map is created the same, right? If this town center was, say, like this distance away from your opponent's base, right? We grab this town center or something like that. Then all of a sudden, the Hades player is going to hit the heroic age in record speed, drop a fortress, and then be able to start sieging you down. And you're just going to start slowly dying to this siege, and you're not going to be able to hit your timing because everything's just going to become chaos, right? So this is a perfect opportunity to be doing this. And we are now actually seeing the upgrades coming through for Tunison. He queues them all up, and he's going to be off to the races here. He's going to be advancing. The only thing would have been to grab those just that little bit faster, but nonetheless, he grabs them, and we'll see if he goes for the next tier immediately as well as military barracks coming up. Wouldn't be a bad idea to just drop another eco guild so you can get them straight away as well, just to speed them up a tiny little incy bit, and also spreads out lush as well. Never a bad idea to just drop a random eco guild for extra lush. On the other side here, we see Super Saiyan starting up his walls. Still playing very, very defensively here for the start of the game. And not a whole lot to continue here. As the military barracks are now up. Hoplite coming up onto this side. A couple of jabs into the back of that bad boy. As he will end up going down. Nice find there for Super Saiyan. Tunison could also start just pumping out a couple more oracles on his defense just to have them. He's got 4 at the moment, which is 3 at the moment, which is a reasonable number, but go up to 5 or something when you go into the heroic age as well, so you can have a huge amount of income, as we are seeing Tunison now going for a bit of a greedy batch of boar here. But if he drops a palace down, he's going to secure these boars and this gold mine and be relatively close to make a push into Super Saiyan's base. And yeah, I think here, okay, so here we see the first little mistake from Tunison. It's not gigantic. He still has an advantage here because he's got both of those upgrades. But in missing Carpenters and Quarry, straight away, his timing is not going to be felt as hard. And unlike Kronos and Uranus, who can do this sort of strategy with Prometheus and heroizing their citizens to get that extra boost of economy, Gaia can't do that. Gaia needs these extra upgrades. And they are relatively cheap as well. If you take a look at them, they're 131.95 as the heroic age in for the Super Saiyan. And we are seeing Orichalcum Male, Medium Murmillo, Behemoths coming through. Still no Palace up just yet. But Tunison, did he get a second Deuterino? We are seeing the Mamillos moving forward. And I think the reason for this might be to just deny any sort of like forward fortress. But realistically, he's got to be careful here because immediately you're going to start seeing Der Super Saiyan go, all right, time to build some Haspist, which are going to be a big problem for Tunison to deal with if he's going to go full in onto Mamillo here. As the Behemoth wandering forward. The other thing you got to be careful is if you get caught out with those Behemoth, then the heroes are going to be able to chase down, or you get caught out with this army, then the heroes can chase down the Behemoth on the retreat, and that's going to be very, very painful. So now we are also seeing Arcus coming through. Copper weapons coming in as well. Archery range, military academy on the way. As Divine Blood coming in. Bosaur as well there for Der Super Saiyan. As the heavy infantry on the way. Arcus still with 0 upgrades. Now Arcus here, the unit you're actually countering at the moment, I'm not sure. You guys tell me what you think about this. I don't think that Arcus really counter infantry at the moment. I don't think that that's what their job is. I think the Momillo are totally fine at killing off infantry. Or generalist infantry. What the Arcus are good at is actually taking out Hapaspist. These things, 15% pierce armor. So what you want to do with them is you want to make sure that in this fight, you're actually targeting down that frontline Hapaspist rather than anything else and let the Murmillos do what they want to do. So you've got to be very, very specific with that, as we do see Tunison being very sneaky with these Behemoth around onto the right side, going to knock the wooden gate down. Break his way through, try and take out the town center. And see what happens here. As the Millos pulling back. Tunison looking for a little bit of a fight. He is getting himself out some Contarius now, as well as a bit of a front line. That Nemean Lion is doing work here, giving a lot of good early game damage in. But nice control here from Der Super Saiyan with those Peltast to snipe out the backline Arcus. No control from Tunison to pull back or anything like that. As Restoration gets forced out and Tunison will need to retreat away. Meanwhile, Town Center down. Behemoth here are going to sacrifice themselves into some houses to clean those up. Totally fair. Got to get as much damage as you possibly can get done. But Tunison loses out on the army, kills the town center. Now the citizens here are getting caught out. No palace down on this position like I was talking about. And this is what's going to happen unless you're very, very proactive with your army. As the citizen going to I don't even know if one of them is really going to be able to escape here. It's a very close fight at the moment. If the Peltas get dove on by those Contarius, it's going to be game over for those Super Saiyan's army here, as the Arcus will be able to take out these units. Do they have ballistics? They do not have ballistics in just yet. As heavy range soldiers on the way. Realistically, yeah, if you're playing against Trader, oftentimes deleting your high value myth units is actually the best play up until it's at like the 3rd or 4th cast. You can just play around it like that and just not build myth units at all versus Trader. Use these units to retreat back into the main area over here. Villagers over here pulling back. More archery range, military academy. Everything getting popped up onto the back here. Tunison is finding himself in a good spot, taking all these buildings down. He's then moving forward to put the palace right into center to control these gold mines. And he's going to start working towards making himself a lot of destroyers. On the other side here, Der Super Saiyan kind of looks like he's not cut military, but it looks like he's trying to get to the Mythic Age. He's got a nice gold mine secured over here with a fortress. This one's got plenty of gold mines saturating that. The food situation is looking decent as well, though grabbing quarry and... Oh no, that's from Tunison over onto the other side. He's just pre-queued everything there. As this forward military academy going down. Super Saiyan losing a ton of infrastructure here, but I don't know how much it matters. He's still pumping. He's not able to get to the next age just yet. He still needs a little bit more food. Now he says, okay, I better keep pumping units here to get myself up to full population. He doesn't have favor for another restoration as the Tunisian army to retreat back. This palace being up, one idea would be to start palace creeping forward here. So we drop one here, we drop one here, and then we start sieging away at the town center. Meanwhile, onto the left side here, third town center coming up. A couple of farms to come down here as well. As Tunison has to start microing his socks off here. The Peltast ball doing nicely on this other side. Retreating back, those Peltast here need to get right on top of those Arcus, and it looks like Tunison's army will not be able to compete just yet. He's pulling back to his palace over here. More military barracks to get dropped down. He's just finishing up that third town center, so I feel like he should be waiting on any sort of attack. Armory upgrade wise, nearly full bronze in. On the other side, there's Super Saiyan with full copper, but his army is just looking very, very strong. Meanwhile, ballistics to come in, a couple more behemoth to start popping out here. But the game after that fight ends up becoming very equal, because even though Tunison is probably in front on eco at the moment, losing that fight just kind of levels the playing field quite a bit. Now, one other idea here for Tunison would be to actually start up a trade route nice and quick, because unlike everyone else whose trade route kind of is a little bit meh in the heroic age, if you can start a market up and get yourself channels, and you can kind of lush highway your way to having super quick llama caravans, then it's actually quite good in the heroic age. You don't have to rush to you don't have to wait till the mythic age to get coinage to have a strong trade route. As the destroyers going to be diving in onto the town center. Generally speaking, making these pushes is very, very difficult unless you've got that forward palace down, which Tunison does not have at the moment. As the restoration coming through, Arcus going to be pulling back for the time being. Now the Contarius need to get over here and deal with these Petropolis, but fighting underneath this palace is going to make this fight very, very difficult. Steals one Petropolis. I like that play. More units piling it onto this position, as it does look like the army, however, for Der Super Saiyan is still looking just that tiny little bit too strong for Tunison. Does have the town center in the middle. 75 pop to 100. But he is taking huge damage from the palace in the center. There's the hoplites swinging in on the left. Everything starting to make life very tricky here for Tunison. Then the earthquake coming down. Tunison has to sort of... Well, can he just pop out and fight still? All these buildings falling. The palace still kind of alive here. One does end up falling. Tunison going to try and push back through here. Pulls those Arcus back ever so slightly. The other pallet's going to be falling. Population, however, for Der Super Saiyan is plummeting. So while he does break through the position for the time being, he does end up losing the fight. And where to next for Tunison? Meanwhile, immediately grabbing his own economic upgrades, going to be equalizing on the income as Der Super Saiyan rearing in on 100 villages. As Tunison says, hey, I'm not going to go to the right anymore. I've tried that. Let's try going to the left here. As he spots the fortress, a couple of destroyers are in. This gold mine area is very, very important for Der Super Saiyan, but there is still this one over here. Meanwhile, as well, Hecate to come through for Tunison. We'll see if Tunison's been paying attention. The idea of rushing for Lampedes is something that's on the cards for Tunison in this late game. He doesn't have the oracles out, unfortunately, though. As now Champion Peltast are in, and Tunison needs to pull back yet again, but going after villagers underneath this town center. Petropolis here. Going to be going down. There's Petropolis as well. Going to be falling. And the palace. The bunch of palace will come back up. Now, maybe one idea here for Tunison would be to get out some fanatics here. He does have double upgraded fanatics, so it does make some sense to build them. They should do a little bit better against... Actually, maybe it doesn't make sense. There's no infantry at the moment. He does have access to that tech, right? As the palace are all coming up in the center. Grabs himself the town center back. Moving up to the top side here to try and push off of this gold mine. Spotting a Petropolis to take that out. Nice play. As the army for Der Super Saiyan making their way over here. Now, Der Super Saiyan didn't go for Hephaestus here, so he is missing out on a little bit of oomph in this Mythic Age that he would have had otherwise. As you do see the trader there on top of the Chimera stealing that one away. Armory upgrades are still sort of struggling for Der Super Saiyan as the Murmillos going to be pulling back. How much gold is remaining? There's about 4,800 here and 2,800 here. 2,800, 4,800. Now the destroyers coming back onto this left side. Tunison continuing to move from right to left using this middle island to hop off. But at this point, Super Saiyan says, I've had enough of this. Let me go after your center here. The destroyers will be able to clean up this final sentinel. Will they go after the town center next? Yes, they will. Oh, gotta be so careful here. This Karkanos will kill everything. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. 300 Pierce coming these Murmillos' way. Oof. Okay, it doesn't kill everything. It kills a huge amount of them though. That's 300 Pierce, right? Or is it 100 Pierce? Hang on. I need to check. I thought it was 300. It's 100 Pierce. Okay, never mind. I thought it was 300. I don't know why. Huge amount of damage though. As the destroyer is coming back over onto this left side, but this will sacrifice the center to do this. And Tunison is struggling to get units out at the moment. He's got himself 12 military barracks. Still doesn't have this upgrade, which is super important. Conscripts and Levy. Both of those help you out so much with production. The Super Saiyan coming back over here, going to clean up these units. The villagers do manage to take out the majority of those destroyers. There's more destroyers coming through. A handful of Champion of Paspis is going to be more than enough to snipe these bad boys down before the town center falls. Perfect response from Der Super Saiyan there. As into the main base, town center about to go down. Mythic Age does get hit. Where to drop the Tartarian Gate is going to be so important here. Do you go for the center to shut down the food? Do you go onto the right side here to shut down the gold? Do you go onto this town center or do you go into this town center? My guess is this one's the best because it shuts this gold mine down and then you can attack onto the right side. At the very least, you shut down a little bit of gold income for a little bit here. But we are now going to be seeing Man of War coming out. And this might be a bit of a game changer here for Tunison because this guy packs a crazy amount of damage as the Tartarian Gate into the center of the map here. Villagers popping out, now starting to shank down, but those Tartarian spawns will have a field day with those villagers. They have their upgrade. Town center for the moment does survive, but a couple of Petropolis on this right-hand side coming through. Tunison still without spamming out those oracles. He's not going to be able to spam out Lampedes, which I think will be a huge advantage here. But actually, the Man of War might just be a better idea. Look at the damage that they do. They are effectively Son of Osiris, budget Son of Osiris, but you got 3 of them? As the Chiron coming through, we see restoration needed to try and help everything out. We see the Burning Pitch coming in clutch over here as well as the Tartarian Gate, one of the few buildings that doesn't come with 90% pierce armor, allowing those Toxotes to really go to town. You know, our Destroyer's coming back over onto the left-hand corner. Town Center coming back up to full. And yeah, I love these Man of War. I think this is such a great way to play for this map here. Onto this right-hand corner, the Fortress getting targeted down. Tunison still putting pressure on left, right, and center. However, Perseus is going to be able to really shut down the Man of Wars here, unless there's enough Arcus to deal with them. Look at that damage there. Like, all the armor in the world doesn't matter. You're getting 35 divine damage per attack. As the Kontari is coming in to pick off even more villagers. Look at the villager differential here. As Tunison to break down the right-hand fortress here. Super Saiyajin will be able to deal with all this. Now, these Peltas, these Toxotes, you might say, hey, a great way to tank up these units is with Destroyers. But because these guys have got the venomous passive from Plague or Shafts of Plague, all of a sudden, now these guys don't suck so bad against the Destroyers. Now they actually start dealing with the Destroyers. It's not a counter by any stretch. The Destroyers are still decent, but it changes everything. No longer is the army so brutal, or the Destroyers are so brutally efficient. They're less efficient. Anyways, the Man of War going down. Both of these ones going to be falling here. And it's Tunison trying to get into range to deal with those, but unfortunately loses both of them. Meanwhile, onto the front here, Tunison with the forward palace. Yeah, they aren't a Son of Osiris. They're budget Son of Osiris. If you have 3 of them, I imagine it's doing more damage than the Son of Osiris does. Because the Son of Osiris changed like 4 times. Man of War changed 3 times. I don't know. Anyways, Man of War. What a unit. Whole bunch of upgrades now coming through. We are seeing advanced fortifications coming in for Tunison. This makes these palace hit like a truck. And this is the sort of advantage, I think, that Tunison really needs here to deal with this Greek army. Palace plus army, fighting underneath it. Look at the damage. Now it's going up to 64.8 pierce damage per second. He's got himself iron weapons as well on top of it. These things will hit like a truck. And this is the sort of help I think that Tunison's army is going to need to break through this Greek ball. Look at it. 100. He's got 8k military here, and he's got a restoration in the bank. But the villager differential is still favoring Tunison. He hasn't started up. He does have a trade route. Not the best trade route going from the back and kind of on top of Lush. Needs to get another thing over here, but not the best. Only 23 gold there, apparently. It's going to that market. Can't believe that this bug is still in the game. I need to make a thing on that. Remind me to make a thing on that, chat, at the end of this game, please. As Perseus ends up going down. Heliopolis rolling in here. And yeah, Tunison's economy is just in trouble here. He's not able to trade. He just can't trade. Unless he gets the full pop, then maybe. I mean, if he gets 100 extra population, he will be at 130 military pop. There's a palace coming up for Tunison over here as well. As the red units of Tunison simply pulling back. He can't really do anything to stop this push here. The Petropolis taking down the palace. A couple of villages here to help keep it alive. A Titan Gate coming in for Durst Super Saiyan to add insult to injury. Even though his economy is so far behind, he does have a trade route going as well. Even though his economy is so far behind, he's able to afford that Titan Gate because he doesn't have to spend on military at the moment. But he is losing a lot of units here while fighting underneath this palace and this palace as well. As the restoration comes in, infantry units managing to surround all those peltas is going to be huge. Now, Fanatics do not have a bonus versus ranged units. Only well, actually nothing does, but they do have a little bit of a help. As one palace goes down, town center here will be falling soon. But no, the Petropolis gets converted there. But another Petropolis coming from another angle, going to be able to finish this one off, it looks like. A couple of fire siphons now to start coming in as Der Super Saiyan, in his moment to get to a Titan, no longer has the economy to reproduce his army here. And this is allowing Tunison, even though he's not able to quite get to pop, it's allowing Tunison to get through here, get damage done. Town Center, will it stay alive? It stays alive with one more kit would have taken that down. Manages to keep it alive just barely there. The villagers in the center going down as Der Super Saiyan has no gold remaining here. Only the trade route, sacrificing villagers in to get just a little bits of gold in. As Tunison has to pull back yet again. Fire Siphon moving over to the left side here. Is he still going? He's still going to that trade route. Honestly, I think this would be a very, very different affair if these trade caravans were going to this market. They should go to it naturally, but they should go to it naturally, like automatically, to the furthest market. But for some reason, they're going to the first built market, I think. Not the furthest market. As the Murmillos starting to come through. Another curse coming down. As Der Super Saiyan doing everything in his power just to give himself the tiniest bits of gold here. Could have something to do with it. I mean, I've seen it on every single map, so I don't know if it's got anything to do with amphibious terrain. I'm pretty sure they're just going to the first built market. I'm pretty sure it's just that simple. Unless it's changed in this patch. Anyways, Palace gets denied over here. And there's a Titan to come through for Der Super Saiyan. As he's going to be ready to start popping out over here, getting some damage done. But at the moment, it's basically just a Titan and a handful of dudes versus a 260 population Tunisian army. Now, Tunisian here will need full heroes to deal with this. The Titan is going to come through and kill everything. As the Arcus getting converted here, the Titan coming in a little bit slow on the attack there. Might have actually got some serious damage in. But Tunison turns around. Heroes to start cleaning up this one. It's going to be a slow grind as Der Super Saiyan still trying to grab as much gold as he possibly can. Tunison pulling back behind this position. Full population and a dream, but one Titan and a nightmare on the other side. As the palace does get denied for the time being. 8 hero Arcus is not going to do it at the moment to take out the Titan very quickly. Toxotes to come through. They can start sniping down the Arcus as well. A couple of Peltas would not go astray here to cause some big problems as the middle town center will end up falling. Hero Fanatics getting converted in to try and deal with this Titan. But the longer this goes on, the stronger that trade route is going to become. But good control from Tunison. Nonetheless, he is... Wait, is he? Hang on. He's got to be making sure he's sniping down the right units with those Arcus. But there's one slap onto the Arcus. Absolutely gigantic. As the Peltas come through, sniping down those hero Arcus on the back. We do see 10 Oracles out now. They're not all positioned incredibly well. But the favor income should start going through the roof for Tunison. But... he's given the map back over to Der Super Saiyan. He's going to be able to clean this palace. He's going to be able to grab this gold mine. And he's going to be in a fantastic position. Meanwhile, Tunison is at 160 military villager, right? Or 148 villager count. So he's only got about 100 population to play with here in terms of military. As the town center coming through here. An attempt to pick off as many villagers as he possibly can. But, to Tunison's dismay, Der Super Saiyan has basically got 100 villagers and he does not need villager population anymore because his trade route, he's got 23 trade caravans. He's trading 60 gold a trip and he's in a fantastic spot. As the hero Fanatics getting converted back in. Only 1200 HP remaining on this Titan, but killing off the Titan is just the first step here for Tunison to try and win this game. He has to retake this entire position and see what happens from here. Titan down. Restoration coming in. The Titan does not get effect by healing, right? He can't get healed. Maybe he's unhealable, yeah. So he does not die, but it's a good retreat there. Keeping that bad boy alive to come around and then take out the palace on the left side. Another palace coming up on the right side, however, to claim or to prevent this gold mine from going Der Super Saiyan's way. As the palace ends up falling. The Super Saiyan now going to grab the center of the map. And even with the Titan falling, it's going to be a 270 population Hades with a trade route, with full eco going, with Artemis, Shafts of the Plague Archers. What else can Tunison do in this spot? Mass Lampede is an option, potentially. I mean, he's lost a couple of oracles along the way. His oracles aren't spread out amazingly. He needs to get the upgrade to turn the units into chickens. But at the very least, if you get out like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Lampedes, it could be enough to turn the tides. You also need the answer for the Perseus, because he will make life very, very tricky for you. But nonetheless, a 260 population, excuse me. Still hasn't fixed his trade route, unfortunately. There's the Titan coming through, cleaning up the palace. Yet again. It's 218 pop for the moment as the Super Saiyan has more resources than he knows what to do with. But he can't get to pop at the moment. Has got himself a decent amount of military buildings. Could also get Gastrophedes in the mix as well to help out. But how can Tunison turn this one back around? He can go for his own Titan here as an option. Still has to finish off the remainder of this Titan first to get there. And he needs to get the resources in to do so. There's another fortress for Der Super Saiyan coming through. Over onto this side, breaking through the palace here. There's the Titan of Der Super Saiyan, very close to falling. It doesn't matter. You also have to remember this is a Hades Titan, so he's got a little bit of extra HP on top of him. A little bit more of a pain to kill off. More pallets coming up for Tunison as he's desperately trying to figure out a way forward here. There's a couple more hero fanatics to come in. They do get that bleed damage, which I think maybe someone in chat can... He did fix it. There you go. He fixes his trade route. Maybe someone in chat can help me out. Does that apply bonus onto the bleed as well? Or is it just one? Because you get... Or whatever it is. It does? It multiplies. There you go. So you get the bonus on the bleed as well. So down to 442 HP. A couple of Fire Siphon could be enough to finish this one off as well. Because they're doing crush damage, which has only got 80% crush armor. So it's not a terrible unit to be using here. As the Titan finally falls. But Der Super Saiyan has got Town Center, Fortress. Doesn't have himself advanced fortifications just yet. But doesn't matter here, is the question. There's the palace here. Does end up falling. And Tunison's hopes of winning this game seem to be dissipating. He's pre-queued out his own section of the Titans, but unlike Gaia, Hades has got an incredibly good roster to deal with the Titan. He's got Ajax, Chiron, Achilles, Perseus, Heliopolis, Bleed from the Archers, or Poison from the Archers. That's huge damage to come onto a high armored myth unit like a Titan there. Meanwhile, over onto this side, we see Der Super Saiyan doing some incredibly nice transport ship shenanigans. Gets onto this spot, drops the fortress, going to start sieging this town center. And that might be the end here for Tunison in this one. He's still at full pop, losing his military, however. And he does say, well, looks like the game is done, as he's not able to make it work. And Der Super Saiyan comes in with the dub, with the Hades. Well played to Super Saiyan here. What else could Tunison have done is the big question. I mean, the trade route doing what it did there did really hurt. Like, you take a look at these resources here, and I mean, would it have been enough? Probably. You see how much of an advantage Tunison has in terms of resources. Would it have been enough? I think so. I think it would have helped him out a ton. And that might have been enough to get him across the finish line. He did have an extra town center, and he just could not get up to full population. And you see this from the Hades. Like the economy is absolutely shot, but Units killed, loss is relatively close. Villagers killed, obviously 120 there for Tunison. 120. But could not find the win here. If you guys enjoyed the game, please make sure you hit the follow on the Twitch. If on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.